Welcome to the Dundas Historical Society Museum and Archives. Here's a look at the fantastic art and artifacts in the latest exhibit, Finishing Touch, the Milliners Art and the Hatter's Trade. We spoke with the guest curators, Mr. John McMicking and Mrs. Norma Shephard, for a closer look at their personal interest in hats and their contributions to the museum's hat exhibit. First, we spoke with John McMicking about his personal history as a Dundas hatter.
My name is John McMicking. I'm a hat maker, and my company is L&H Hats. I specialize in men's reproduction headwear. I've been making hats for the last 36 years. Back in about 1964-65, CBC used to show silent film comedies on Sunday afternoons. And one of my earliest childhood memories is watching these comedies, these films. And the thing that I noticed most was that everybody wore hats. The fact that I connected it with hats was likely the beginnings of my interest in hats. My favorite is the bowler hat. So top hats and bowlers are really my two specialities. The hat maker, at this stage, with ready-made felt, starts with a felt hood. It is stretched over a wooden hat block to give the shape to the crown. The brim is then ironed flat against a brim board. The brim is then cut to size, an even radius all the way around. Once the crown is finished and the brim is cut to size, if it's going to be a rolled brim, the brim is then rolled. It's done by turning it just simply by hand and then pressing it with a flat iron. That is the finished hat without trimming or lining. Then with various ribbons and bands, this finally gets turned into this sweatband, hatband, and all.
We also spoke with Mrs. Norma Shephard regarding her long-standing interest in collecting, preserving, and showcasing hats.
Millinery Museum. Well, we're a museum without a home. We don't have an exhibit space, so about a decade ago we started taking a portion of our collection into the community. Our mandate is to bring historical artifacts out of the archives and into the community and to show them in innovative ways. So we often do retrospective millinery fashion shows. We certainly do like to show history that way. I mean, this is only a drop in the bucket of what our collection is. We have over 2,500 historical hats in the Millinery Museum. We're contacted once people heard about our collection. Was contacted by Joseph Brand Hospital in Burlington. They had a patient who had been a former milliner, and they thought if we brought in a portion of the collection it might cheer her and some of the other patients, and it just, by word of mouth, it's just grown and grown. This is the cornerstone of the exhibit, I would say, a beautiful 1825 beaver bonnet, which is housed here at the Dundas Museum, part of their collection. It has its original ties. It's stunning. I think I always had a passion for hats. If I look at photographs of myself as a child, of course it was, you know, in the 50s and 60s, everybody wore hats, but I don't think I can find a picture of myself without one. I remember when the churches were filled every Sunday, and it was just a sea of beautiful, beautiful couture hats. I think my favorite hat is always the next hat that comes along, but the 40s I'm particularly interested in. I think the milliners were very, very creative in that era during the Second World War. They had to deal with restrictions in the amount of materials that could go into the making of hats, and also, you know, the amount of man hours that could go into making those beautiful pieces, and I think they were quite innovative. What I love are the comments, the feedback that I've gotten, the reminiscences that people have written down in the guest book. A certain hat will spark a memory, and that's really what it's about for me. Every hat tells a story,